Hello everyone! Every time I tried to realize what was going on in Genshin and where it could lead to, there was a misunderstanding. Not understanding how important the lore is about the first era, about Fanes and his shadows, whether they will play any role at all or will remain only on paper. Because the developers seemed to ignore these topics, and something could only be learned from books and other such sources. Everything changed when one red-haired lady helped us accidentally to open the veil of secrecy. I was very surprised, but it wasn't because we were shown the destroyed moon. The information about it was already in Enkanomiya. I was surprised because it wasn't introduced in a side quest, but in Archon quests, and that really says a lot. Think about it, when was the last time Archon quests gave us information about ancient times, even indirectly? In Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, we were told nothing at all about the ancient times of Teyvat. In Sumeru, they only told us about Irminsul. In Fontaine, they also didn't tell us anything. The Oceanids don't count. They aren't as ancient as the Shadow of Death, the Lord of Night, or the False Sky. We first learned about the sky from Scaramouche a long time ago, and only now we were given a real confirmation of his words. I think a lot of people share my emotions as the game we love is finally moving forward. Today, we will discuss the history of Teyvat and how Abyss infiltrated the planet. We'll also touch on the topic of moons. Everything I'm going to say today is just theory, as other hypotheses may follow from what I say, but this one seemed the most convincing to me. Let's start with what kind of big picture we can put together by looking back at the history of Teyvat. Now, there will be a bit of information that many people already know. I have prepared various images from different significant eras of Teyvat. My goal is to explain how Abyss ended up on the planet and how it spread over time. When Fanes appeared, the planet was inhabited by dragons and Vishaps. Abyss, fake skies, and foreign rule were not here. The planet was ruled by 7 dragon lords, the most powerful beings of this world with immense elemental power. Each ruled over his own people of dragons and Vishaps. Fanes defeated all the overlords and began to rule the planet. He created 4 shadows of himself: the shadow of life, which helped create all living things, the shadow of time and winds, and the shadow of death, and we have no information about the 4th shadow. To create the world, Fanes used eggshells to separate the universe and the microcosm of the world. That is, he separated Teyvat space from the cosmos, formed a dome, a protective field that surrounds the planet and prevents outside influences on human life. After the protective layer was created, mountains and rivers were created by joint efforts, and then humans appeared. As long as the humans were happy, Fanes was happy as well. Humans cultivated the land, harvested the first crops, started mining, and found precious ore for the first time. They banded together and composed the first poems. Now I want to tell the story of the 3 sister moons as it was described in the book and the meaning behind it. Before I do that, I want you to pay attention to this picture. This is what we saw when Mavuika broke the sky. Here we are shown a destroyed moon, only one so far, but look closer. On its surface there are built objects of an advanced civilization. What could this possibly mean? Let's deal with the book first. There were 3 moons who were sisters named Arya, Sonnet, and Canon. They navigated the heavens above in their silver carriage, alternating with one another thrice a month. If the rain was not promptly passed from one sister to the next, a terrible disaster would occur that very day. Such a cycle existed until the day of the disaster. It's probably just describing the process of the moons rotating around the earth. These 3 luminous moons shared but one love, the stars of daybreak. Only at the fleeting moments when day and night converged could one of the 3 sisters pass the fading stars and gaze upon the chambers of the morning stars. Moments later, as the new dawn would break over the horizon, the carriage would quickly ferry the night sister away. This describes the interaction of the moons with the sun. The falling in love here probably means that they depended on the sun and could not exist without it. The 3 sisters shared an equal affection for their one and only love, much like the affection they shared for one another, but this was all before the world was smashed against the tides of great calamity. With time, disasters overturned the sovereign carriage and laid ruin to the halls of the stars. The 3 sisters of the night turned against one another, leading to their eternal parting by death. Only one of their pale corpses now remains, ever shedding its cold light. It is important to realize that first the moons were destroyed and then they started their enmity. Not because of enmity they destroyed each other. From this picture of the destroyed moon, we can realize that it is not just a destroyed lifeless satellite in space, such as the moon we have in real life, but a fully developed planet that served as a mechanical satellite for the planet Fanes created. The stories in the Teyvat ancient history books are a metaphor, and most likely the moons were simply satellites of the Earth on which civilization existed on these 3 moons. Many questions arise. When did this civilization arise? My guess is not before Fanes, since he destroyed all the dragons, but the humans from the moons were untouched. Let's look at the destruction of the moons from a scientific point of view. Due to Fanes changing the planet, a catastrophe could have occurred and the orbits of the moons shifted, causing them to collide with each other and crash. The second throne of the heavens came, and war was rekindled as it was in the world's creation. That day the heavens collapsed and the earth was rent asunder. Enkanomiya falls into the ocean during the disaster and is severed from the surface world. With the help of Istaroth, the people of Enkanomiya were able to adjust to the new conditions and continue to exist. At that time, Teyvat was covered by eternal ice until the first fire appeared. From that point on, life began to flourish, and Celestia's messengers predicted that things would soon only get better. The earth was probably covered in ice due to the destruction of the planet's satellites, causing changes in the climate. Climate change causes angels or fairies to die out. A logical question arises: how did the climate change if there was a protective dome over it? It's quite simple. During the war with the second throne of the heavens, the planet where Teyvat is located split. It's described in detail in the book. The planet may have cracked because of battles taking place on or near its surface, or because of destroyed moons. The debris from the moons began to fall on Teyvat, causing catastrophic destruction. The same debris broke through the defense dome. We saw one such piece of debris in the Natlan Rift. However, only one part of the planet was significantly damaged, while the area of modern Teyvat was less affected. A significant transformation of Teyvat occurred after the dome disappeared on the split part of the planet from where Abyss began to penetrate. Abyss penetrates from the lower part of the planet to the very top, just where the modern Teyvat is located. I would also like to point out that in Natlan, the Abyss portal appeared directly in the sky, which means that Abyss is eating through the protective dome already on the non-fractured parts of the planet. At the time of the Archon War, people were already living well, the climate remained stable, and there were no external threats. However, in order to increase the power in Teyvat, the Archon War and the entrenchment of the 7 elements began. Why exactly were the 7 elements enshrined? Because these elements are part of one element, such as the power of light. So that no one could use the power of light to seize the throne, the power of light was divided into 7 parts, because someone who has only one element is unable to fight the possessor of all the elements at once. Those who resisted this arrangement descended underground, seeking complete freedom and independence from the Archons. They were the first inhabitants of Khaenri'ah to face the power of Abyss below, which was already approaching the surface. 500 years ago, an incredible force from the depths burst to the surface of the earth, the last time Celestia took action to solve the problems. Almost every region has places where the abyss rages. Under Sumeru, it's Khaenri'ah; in Liyue, it's Khazam; in Natlan, it's Night Kingdom; and in Inazuma, it's Enkanomiya. Mondstadt has no such place yet, but if we look at the names of Archon quests, we can see that in all regions except Mondstadt, the quests are called chapters, and in Mondstadt, prologues. Therefore, it is likely that the main Archon quests in Mondstadt have not yet appeared, and perhaps in the future we will open some dungeon in which the abyss also rages. In Fontaine there is no such place. In Remuria the situation is more or less safe. Snezhnaya must have a place like that, because when Tartaglia was a kid, he fell into a place where abyss was. All in all, Teyvat is closer to destruction than ever before, and it probably won't do without Celestia's intervention. Even if in a future patch 5.2 we see our heroes fight Abyss and emerge victorious, this will not solve the overall problem of Abyss infiltration, but only delay it. As long as there is a rift in the planet, the Abyss will continue its advance. Of course, we will only know the solution to this problem in Khaenri'ah. In the meantime, we can only hope that the developers will fully reveal and finish this part of the story. Well, that's the end of my story. Thanks for watching. Write in the comments what you think about this theory and suggest your own. Subscribe to my channel, it gives me more motivation to make videos more often and make them more interesting. See you soon.